Welcome back to Frontline USA, coming to you this week from the U.S.-Mexico border. You know, here by the border fence, you're pretty much always on camera. You just never know when someone's watching. Now we shift focus to those people who always know when they're on camera, the good folks in the mainstream media. Here's Richard Gisbert with this week's election post on how immigration is being covered in this election campaign.
Hello and welcome to the Election Post on Frontline USA. Coverage of the immigration issue is a marketable commodity in the U.S. news media, and the way it's covered has become a big part of the debate.
Do you support or oppose driver's licenses for illegal immigrants?
In an election campaign where the media coverage has been short on substance, there is one issue that U.S. news organizations are clamoring to cover: illegal immigration.
What the candidates spent most of the time talking about was immigration, and the back and forth on that got pretty heated.
It's not a white thing. It's not a Republican thing. It's a Homeland Security thing. A nation without borders is not a nation.
Well, immigrants in the military are fine, but trying to stick illegal aliens in the military, come on, Rick.
The news media, both right-wing and mainstream, can't stop talking about immigration.
Why does it make a lot of sense to give an illegal immigrant a driver's license?
Despite clear evidence that they care more about the issue than voters do. A study by the Washington-based Center for Media and Public Affairs late last year showed that 26% of campaign coverage was about illegal immigration, more than any other issue, and it was the most discussed topic in the candidates' debates, even though polls of the public revealed immigration was fourth on the voters' list of priorities, well behind the Iraq War.
Immigration has still not polled very highly among the electorate, but you have people in the mainstream media who are declaring that immigration is a vital issue to the American electorate. The American people haven't gotten the message yet, but the media are continually trying to flog this dead horse.
I think there has been quite a lot of coverage of immigration, and I think for the most part it has been of a restrictionist nature.
A wave of illegal immigration affecting every aspect of American life.
It's been mostly negative media coverage of the immigration issue, and really coverage that has not focused on what we can do about the problem that we have with our immigration broken system.
An example of media myopia on this issue came last year when an illegal immigrant in Virginia, driving drunk and without a license, killed a young woman.
The only reason it's news on the factor is because the driver was an illegal alien.
He doesn't have a right to be in his country.
To take this tragedy in Virginia Beach and make it about illegal aliens is a sin. That's a sin.
Rarely do you see a story about immigration that's not specifically about illegal immigration and something sensational that happens with regard to illegal immigration, like gunfire back and forth across the border, human smuggling, drug smuggling. We see those kinds of stories all the time, and that's just because that is so sensational.
And it's not just Fox News. Lou Dobbs is a CNN anchor who focused on business news before making illegal immigration his go-to issue.
Incredibly, our government doesn't know just how many illegal aliens there really are living in this country.
Lou Dobbs at CNN found that by scapegoating and demonizing immigrants, he could score a certain kind of ratings victory. So that really put it on the national agenda. So you have a far-right presence in the media that's pushing this into the political mainstream, really.
The problem for anti-immigration forces in the U.S. media is that they have no candidate to back. Republican hopefuls who harped on the issue have all dropped out of the race, and the party's nominee, John McCain, is much softer on immigration than right-wingers would like.
It's really about safety here, Mr. McCain. Why are we giving free pass to millions of people who broke in here illegally?
We've seen the conservative commentators constantly criticizing McCain for being wrong on the issue of immigration. And they talk about this with such venom that a lot of the commentators have told their true conservative voters to actually go vote for Hillary Clinton instead of voting for McCain.
The U.S. media keep working the immigration story.
Virtually every week we cover a new story exposing the bloody consequences of open borders.
They have a lot of airtime to fill between now and November. And the next time there's a big bust at the border or an illegal immigrant gets caught breaking the law, you can expect more coverage.
And when you cover something that way, you really miss out on any human dimension or human aspect of the story, which has long gone begging in the immigration debate.
We're talking about people with families, with children, So it's a very complex problem, and I think overall the biggest problem with the media is that the coverage is very superficial. It really does not give the public a really good understanding of what the problems are and how complex the immigration issue is overall.
But if you break into my country, you know what? I'm going to take your DNA and I'm going to put you on a plane and I'm going to send you the hell back to your frickin' country.
We'll see you again next week with more on the media and the U.S. vote here on the Election Post.
Immigration. It may be an abstract policy issue for some, but here in the California desert, it's entirely down to earth. Earlier in this show, we met immigration advocates who search these sands for people who have just crossed the border, bringing them food and water and support. But there are others who patrol these borderlands, heavily armed, self-described citizens groups, better known as vigilantes, and often accused of racism and mistreatment of migrants. To get a closer look inside their world, Al Jazeera's Mike Kirsch took a ride with the California Minutemen.
End zone, end zone. This is Cowboy 1.
Blasting horns and chewing up the desert terrain nightly on the U.S.-Mexico border in California are convoys of private American citizens called Minutemen, permitted under law to carry guns.
Okay, guys, unlock them and load them up.
And help federal border patrol agents catch people crossing illegally into the U.S. On this, the front line of America's illegal immigration debate.
Just let them know we're in the area.
We ride with Minuteman Bob Rodell, a retired cargo ship sailor, as he tracks 9 people who've reportedly just crossed the border from Mexico.
How do you describe the determination of these people? I mean, I guess if I was in their shoes, in their situation, I'd probably want to do the same thing. But I would want to do it within the rule of law.
By morning, a U.S. Border Patrol agent down the road has apprehended Mexican citizen Daniel Lopez, who crossed into the U.S. here overnight, his shoes wrapped in strips of cloth in a failed effort to hide his footprints on his way to the California border town of San Isidro.
I'm illegal. I just wanted to come to San Isidro for a while, to work and to help my wife. She's dying.
Once the U.S. Border Patrol is finished with them and they're returned here over the fence back in Mexico, it's not uncommon for them to turn right around and attempt another illegal crossing back into the United States.
I've tried 6 times. I was only able to cross once, and was only there 1 month and was deported.
This young man named Manuel in Tijuana is planning another border crossing in a few days. When are you going again?
I'm thinking in 4 or 5 days.
In el noche, at night?
Yes, during the day it's harder. Since I was bit by a dog, I can't really run.
What's this?
A dog bite. I got it when I was trying to cross.
Those in Tijuana who can't cross by themselves turn to human smugglers like Roberto, who are referred to as polleros, meaning those who help the chickens cross the road.
We refer to the individuals trying to cross illegally as pollos, or chickens. Like hens with their chicks, wherever the hen goes, the chicks go.
Roberto says his clients have paid him as much as $2,500, often their life savings, to help them escape an impoverished life in Mexico, working for as little as $5 a day. Indeed, Southern California has long been a paradise of job opportunities for more than 2 million illegal Latino immigrants. Antonio Galvez of Guatemala says he crossed illegally into the U.S. more than a decade ago. He says he supports his wife and 2 daughters back in Guatemala by doing the back-breaking construction work here many Americans no longer want to do.
They're lazy. They don't want to bend down. They complain about their back. The Mexican will do everything.
They say the border is not that far.
But California Minutemen like Bob Rodell are determined to stop the flow of illegal immigrants coming across the border. Back at the group's border camp, Rodell responds to some critics describing the Minutemen as a racist hate group.
There's no hate here for the people themselves. The hate is what they're doing to our country. This we can't allow it to happen.
Ultimately, the frontline stand California's Minutemen are taking against illegal immigrants has made it more difficult for them to cross into the U.S. for now. For illegal immigrants like Daniel Lopez, America, long admired as the land of the free, is not what it used to be.
That's all the time we have for this edition of Frontline USA, but immigration is such a key issue that we will revisit it in the course of this campaign. Until next time, from the U.S.-Mexico border, so long.